My son would get very dysregulated. There would be a lot of escalation, and he was extremely physically aggressive. Sometimes this would last for hours.
At that time, I was working a lot, and I would come home. A lot of times, it was rough. They would be in a conflict, and I would try to help deal with that the best I could. So it was very frustrating, sometimes overwhelming, and it did put a strain on Kim and I's marriage because of the frustration.
We did start going to Family Service and Guidance Center when he was about 5. They were ruling out autism at that time because he makes good eye contact and didn't flap his hands. So he wasn't diagnosed with autism until he was 9.
He started going to school in Topeka. He would have plenty of incidents, but it would be to where it was physical altercations, him being completely uncooperative, having meltdowns. He would get the teachers to where they were mad at him.
Yeah.
You know, trying to figure out how to logic with a child that's not able to logic is pretty rough. Really, we're just stuck and frustrated a lot of the time. Usually if your child is struggling, they're not the only one in the family that is. And so we wanted to transition our services to Lawrence to Bert Nash. And that was a relief.
I think Bert Nash started to give me hope because it was giving us the tools to help manage Heath's situations. He started to see where he was being more cooperative.
We saw a big change when he started to use his tools with summer group and not reacting by physically hitting other kids or adults. He realized he had some of these things that were in his control. The therapist that he had for intake is still his therapist today. She immediately recognized what was going on with him and helped us get the diagnosis we needed and a plan.
Creating change, I mean, in our situation, it's to give Kim and I hope for him to be a good person and to be able to survive on his own.
I think creating change is being open to something other than what your present moment looks like, and being willing to be open to take those steps to create change in your life.
We noticed that Baxter was having some struggles, experiencing a lot of behaviors as a result of his trauma almost right away. Baxter had gotten really upset about something, and I don't even know that we knew what it was that he had gotten upset about. And so we just laid down with him and just let him cry and held him. And that was maybe a few weeks into him moving into our home. The two of us decided that we wanted to open our home to a child, and we absolutely wanted to go through the adoption process. They typically talk about kids moving into new homes and having honeymoon periods. I don't know that we saw a honeymoon period with Baxter. It was probably as he approached adolescence that we really started to see some of the aggression coming out. And I think that was probably the biggest warning sign for us that something needed to happen. So for us, we were reaching out to anyone and everyone that we could and just felt like we were hitting a lot of brick walls. And so a family had said, have you ever considered the parent support program at Bert Nash? The first time we met with our parent support specialist, Elliot and I think, were pretty overwhelmed with services. But right away, I think we realized there was something uniquely different about this service. Our parent support specialist got it, and she validated for us that we were doing everything that we could.
She was the first person to look at us and say, wow, that sounds really hard. Instead of, well, here are 100 things you need to be doing differently. She just listened and never once made us feel like we weren't trying our hardest.
So Baxter's 18 now. He graduated from high school, which was a huge accomplishment.
I would like to thank them for a lot of things. Just bringing me into their home, being able to accept me with all my flaws. They show that they're not gonna give up. They show that they're there for me, always and forever. There's never been a point where they don't show that they don't love me or they're not gonna be there.
One of the best moments in my life was actually during a family therapy session where Baxter was asked by the therapist, how do you define family? And his response was, family never gives up on each other. And I think that that meant the world to me to hear him say that we taught him that you don't give up.
I had a self-harm incident during my sophomore year. I just really fell really deep into this idea of just like, I don't deserve to be here. And it was just the depression of the season, and it all just kind of fell in on me, and I didn't know what to do. I reached out to my friend and I said, I just had a really bad episode and I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to come to my mom about this. I don't know how to go to anybody about this. My mom came in my room and I was trying to hide because I didn't want to show her. She gets a call on her phone from the police.
It was kind of scary at that point in time when they told me, to stay with her, that she could be really bad injured until the first responders showed up.
It was absolutely shocking, and after you get a call like that, the very first thing you think is everybody okay? And when that settles in and you realize, okay, well, the immediate danger is over, and then, of course, the heartbreak of knowing that someone you love has gone through something like that, and then you are then left with dealing with how do we help from that point on. We had gone to KU to get sort of an evaluation of where Zofia was after her initial hospital stay, and they had recommended to go to the crisis center at Bert Nash, and we just followed Z's lead at that point. It was like, what do you need? I want to go right now. We immediately started exploring the possibilities with Bert Nash.
When I started at Bert Nash, I had a really low self-worth. I wasn't caring about making myself look nice or anything I did. I was my own lowest priority, And now Bert Nash really helped me look inside myself and my own behaviors and see exactly what was causing me to get overwhelmed in my life.
It started to feel like this is getting somewhere. Just like this wonderful healing opportunity that everybody got to get in on, and everyone got to learn how to utilize this better way of getting better.
When I think about creating change, I think about, first of all, acknowledgement. I think that's the most important part of change, is being able to say, this isn't good for me and something has to be different. But it's more like taking the thing that you want to work on and improving it, and then accepting when you go back down and then working up from there again, because it's okay to fall back down as long as you're trying to get back up.